Hello everyone, Jason here. Before we get started with today's video, just a couple of announcements. First, if you are a Florida local looking to play in any Warmachine tournaments, come play with us or any of our awesome local stores and players. We have a great group of guys that play Warmachine here in Florida. We are experiencing a resurgence and it's very beautiful. We love this game and we would love to have you. Are you on the West Coast? Come play at Dreaming City Games. There's a steamroller once a month, and casual play happens throughout the week. Central Florida, you're in luck. Ocala has a scene growing. Come play at Bearded Brown Coat Comics and Games in Ocala. Orlando-ish area, there's a steamroller happening this weekend, Saturday, April 25th at Layton Games in Altamont Springs. If you're not ready for a steamroller yet, it's okay. Come say hi, come check out some awesome games and awesome players. Of course, we can't forget about the prestigious Crucible Con happening September 13th later this year. Always a blast. If you call yourself a world traveler, come to Florida.
All right, guys, welcome to another Fire Will Battle Report. This is Rassyk.
And this is Jalaam.
And today we're going to be playing a 100-point game on Pressure Point. For my list, I'm playing Rassyk, Spawn of Shadows. For a battle group, I've got a Drakyon, a Hydrix, 2 Vipexes, a Wyvern, and then we've got Belagul, 2 Wraithwing Paragons, 2 units of Talon Death Dealers, and a unit of Wormspine Shadowmancers.
For me, I'm playing Jalaam with a Cyclops Raider, Molik Karn, a Titan Cannoneer, Titan Gladiator, Aptimus Marketh, a Willbreaker, Tyrant Rhadeim, Venator Dakar, the Legends of Halaak, a unit of Beast Handlers, a unit of Ferox, and a unit of Venators. I do go first, so with this list, I just want to try to project as far as I can going first. The flags around the corners become a bit of a hassle for me because I don't have, as the game progresses, I'm not having enough stuff to punch back on the first turn. So I'm just kind of moving everything up.
Yeah, you've got a nice, decent threat projection for turn 1, though. Like, especially with the Ferox, like, you have like a pretty decent setup of like being able to both pressure like the flank on the table edge, closest on your left, my right.
This is
as well as like the middle of the board.
My idea with this list was my best Gravedigger's impression in Skorne.
What if Caine but Skorne?
Yeah, what if Caine but sand, so I kind of just put all the decent shooting I could. It's very funny how much volume fire is actually in Skorne for some reason.
Yeah, it is.
It is kind
of a good
funny.
rule. It's a good rule for a gun, and Skorne has a lot of it.
A lot of it. So yeah, just kind of running things up. I put a cloud right in the middle of the board just in case. I don't think you have any guns.
Yep, not.
So it's kind of just burning fury at that point.
I have like little guns. Like I have like obviously the Wyvern has the spray. And then to talk about loadouts a little bit for my Hydrix, I have the Flame Spitter for the main head, as well as a Flame Sprayer and the Horn Piercer for the 2 smaller heads, and then the Spine Back for its back option. And then for the 2 Vipexes, I have one that's the Channeler Hunter's Mark Impaler's loadout, and the other one is the Viper Bladed Gale Impaler's full melee loadout. So going back over to my turn, I'm, trying to play around your gun ranges, as well as like I was talking about earlier, like the Praetorians, like putting up the pressure on how far they threat on that lower area of the board. Right, I don't want to give up anything for free. Especially giving you an angle to like come charge and kill stuff, and then also get onto the flag over there. So take a little pot shot here with the Hydrix into the Ferox. I think with the big gun, I just barely out threaten your melee
Yeah,
range
just
with a
barely.
range 14 gun.
Yeah, you kill him, but he toughs. So
But I, take my shot, put up counterblast. We're just gonna hang out there. From here, I'm kind of trying to figure out like where I want to move to next. Um, I think I end up like figuring out the top side of the map because that part is a little easier to work with since there's so few models up there. Yeah, so using this forest here to my advantage, I move up the wyvern behind the forest to make it so that if you want to get shots into it, you gotta, like obviously the Venator dudes don't want to walk off the point, so I make it so that they have to if they want to shoot any of this stuff. And you don't have anything too threatening in the middle that I'm worried about shooting wise. Like I have the Paragon there so that the Cannoneer shot, any of the blast damage is not going to be a big deal off of the AoE.
Mhm.
So really, it's
then-
just the Raider that would be the primary concern from shooting in the middle onto that top area that I have everything stuck up on.
another thing that was really good. I mean, it was annoying to me. I put my prey on the Drakyon, and then you moved it to the top side of the board. So
Yeah,
that he's
yeah.
in the back. I was like, oh, all right. I guess I'm not using prey the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think the idea was just to put it like, it's like, well, I'm not gonna let you shoot this one for free, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna, if you want to shoot it, you
Make
got to
me
put
work for
yourself
it.
in a compromising position.
I think that's the right thing to do.
Yep. So turns out I have this nice little spot here, right in the middle, where I get to station the Vipex, where I'm gonna project like a really long threat between Hunter's Mark and sidesteps, and and the fact that you're gonna have to come stand on the point without giving you this Vipex for free. Like obviously you're gonna be able to shoot it, but I think that it's not. I think it's not. I think I feel pretty confident that it's not just gonna die off rip to shooting. Um, Especially with being defense 14 and being right behind the wall. Like, at some point, I activate Rassyk in the middle of this. I obviously put up Warpath. I put up Death March onto the unit of Death Dealers that is on the bottom side of the board. And I use the battle formation battle plan that Rassyk has to give the armor buff to warrior models that are base to base with my battle group models.
Yeah, that armor buff definitely helps your Paragon up there, because my guys are gonna go over there and try to shoot him out because of the.
Yeah, that was the other part was like, based on my position, I'm like, if I'm gonna let you shoot anything, I'm gonna let you shoot the Paragon, which is probably the thing you like kind of want to shoot at anyway. But
Yeah.
like between like it's gonna be the hardest model for you to shoot because it's gonna be the highest defense armor combination of all the models up there anyway.
Mhm.
So,
I mean, I'm
gonna be 15.
might as well try, right?
Yeah. So I think you end up taking. I can't remember if you do a full 5-man CRA.
I did a full 5-man
yeah,
CRA.
so he does a full. You do a full 5-man CRA here into the Paragon. So, but I think you probably end up hitting low dice.
Yeah,
right. Because I think you're. I think after, you probably need like like 4 or 5 to hit.
It's Rat 10.
Yeah, so you need 5 to hit,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're on armor 20 with the battle formation.
Mm-hmm. And it's only POW 17, I think.
So your dice off 3.
Yeah. So I didn't get enough to kill it.
Yeah, so you need 13 to kill on the 5-man CRA, which isn't going to happen.
But yeah, so I see this Vipex that was in that blind spot. Well, we'll call it a blind spot. So I was like, well, you gave me something to shoot at. I might as well shoot at it. Halaam just so happens to have grievous wounds, and I know I know you hate that he has grievous wounds.
I truly do. A long-standing tradition of Halaam knocking out a system or two every activation
Every
with grievous
activation.
wounds.
Yep. So I'm like, well, if I don't knock it out, I have to feat this turn. So let's just get everybody into position, knowing I'm gonna feat.
Yep, the
Let's take a
Cyclops walks up here, tries to finish off the Paragon on that top side.
yep, and misses. And I was like, well, that sucks. So I was like, all right, well, let's try to get the Cannoneer in there. Let's try that. So I'm lining up my shots there, trying to figure out who can get
Trying
these
to figure out,
shots.
trying to figure out where you can stand.
So the Glad walks up, rushes the Cannoneer so that he can get into the range to take that shot. I boost the hit, and
Yeah, I think you need 11 on that one, right? And then you end up. I think what happens is you miss and you boost the blast damage for 2 dice.
Yep, and it didn't do anything. I was like, all right, well, let's just go up there with Halaam and see what we can do then, and we'll take some shots at the Vipex. So I take 2 shots. I ignore that little wall that's in front of you.
Yep, yeah. Halaam also gets to ignore cover. In addition to having Prey and Volume Fire, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So, but Halaam ends up cranking some dice and knocks out 2 systems on the Vipex.
I vanish back to be behind my guys, and I feat to try to get everybody in feat. My beast handlers go up, and I fury manage to make sure everybody is good. No frenzies. And then my Venator Dakar, my solo with the Weapon Master Volume Fire, walks up and takes another shot at the Vipex to, further cripple that thing. And
I think this is the shot. I think that's the shot that hits the second system.
Yep. So then that turn, I move. I'm like, well, let me just clog up this middle. It is feat turn, so these cats are really hard to deal with.
Yeah, they end up what they're 14?
13.
They're 13s, yeah. So
they had 13 with dodge, and you have 1 dice to hit them.
Yeah.
So it's not easy.
Standard,
that's for sure.
Yeah. So we get some standard maintenance stuff. Upkeep my Warpath, upkeep Death March on the Death Dealers. Because you knocked out the 2 systems, it's like I believe it was Mind Spirit, I want to say, for the Vipex.
That just kind of takes him out of the game for a turn.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, it was kind of like a no-brainer of like, well, I guess I'm just gonna walk this thing back and hope that it lives another turn, and it'll be my counterpunch next turn as long as it doesn't get tagged with Reivers for 2 turns in a row, or completely killed. On
that would
the following
be
turn.
Mean, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But so I'm thinking out here, like I think I'm kind of asking the questions of like defenses to try and gauge like how likely am I to hit some of this stuff. I think my big the big thing I'm going for is Death Dealers into the Ferox is what I'm planning for, because with Death March they're Mat 9, so I only need 4s, so I got a 50-50 shot to hit each attack with 1 die. So I'm like, well, I'll probably hit, at least one of them. So here's my, we're going to just move the Vipex out of the way, clear up the lane for the Death Dealers, as well as hopefully get them to a position where it's, I'm going to put a bunch of stuff in your face. So if you're spending Jalaam attacks to attack that, then it means that you're not doing as much work as to whatever I put into the middle of the board. So
yeah.
which I feel is like probably pretty good for me.
Yeah, with guns you only get 1 or 2 shots. With melees you usually get 4 or
so
5.
Here comes the Death Dealer charge. figuring out my placement here a little bit. I think I was trying to see if I could get to that third cat with the charge placement, but yeah. So we work out how exactly it's gonna
Mm-hmm.
how
You were just trying to
exactly
get
they're
all
gonna
three.
land. Yep. So so I was like, if I luck sack and end up hitting all the attacks, then I could try to go for that last cat that's in the
Mhm.
backside. So I start here. I miss one. We get a dodge. I take the other one. You get a dodge. That one doesn't really matter. You don't have a lot of space
And I
to
got a lot of
move.
space to move anyway.
But then I
so-
get the last one. And I take my sidestep to
engage more.
engage up. Yeah, engage up Redeem and the Legends. Get a Warpath movement. So I move up the Wyvern a little bit into the forest. So now that I can see out to get a charge angle.
Not my Venators. Leave them alone. They didn't do nothing.
Yep. And here I kind of am at the point where I'm like, figuring out the activation order. I think there was a little bit of like me trying to figure out where. Yeah, I was like, I need to figure out where Rassyk needed to stand because obviously the Wyvern is pretty far out on that flank. On the
if you were
top
gonna
side
go
of the
in there with
board.
Wyvern, you'd had to get it.
Yeah,
over
I had
there
to
be in
get
control.
far. Yeah, I had to I'm like measuring out like, okay, where does Rassyk need to stand? How far can the Wyvern get? How which guys can I attack without putting Rassyk into a super compromised position by taking him out of that trench there?
Yeah. I purposely left two guys on the point, knowing that it's scoring turn.
Yep.
But that was also my undoing because you just target that guy.
Yeah, so I'm setting up my. I think what I end up doing here is I don't think I didn't have there was no good hunter's mark target plus there wasn't I wasn't going to get into anything that was worth trying to put a disintegrate into. So I think I just cast Deathbringers to give me the grievous wounds in case it randomly matters. I don't think it really did, but it was just something. But Rassyk is just going to stand on the trench, put up the indomitable animus from the Drakyon. I'm also going to feat this turn because if the I'm not thinking that I'm going to get that much this turn, but I'm definitely going to shove into your face and force you to come back into me. So defensive strikes are going to be very nice on your turn.
Yeah, defensive strike is very hard to play around.
Yeah. You know me. I love the dream. Not that it ever happens, but the idea of defensive striking with the Drakyon to smite you away.
Yep.
And I'll say it here. I feel like Drakyon very, very underrated model.
Yeah, playing against it, definitely
even if it
really good.
Even if it doesn't necessarily recoup points in terms of killing stuff, it always does something that is like crazy value in terms of scenario play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, being able to just hit, smite, hit, smite, hit, smite is very good and very hard to play around.
Yeah.
Making it worse is when you can do it on my turn.
It is a little easier to play around because it's range 1 instead of range 2.
Mm-hmm.
But
it might be a little too good at range 2.
A little too good, he says. Yeah, so here I'm setting up the Vipex behind that pillar in the middle of the board next to the 50. So I'm setting up the Vipex there to contest and potentially score the 50. Setting up the Death Dealers around it to get the battle formation bonus, which I put up again this turn from Rassyk. And basically just gum up the 50 with dudes, force you to, okay, if you want to score this 50 in the middle of the board, you're gonna have to walk into these dudes and take defensive strikes.
Mm-hmm.
I also set them up in such a way that the death dealers, so that they could be base to base with the wyvern after it moves into position. I charged Paragon in, whiff on some melee attack. If there's one thing you can count on the Paragon, you can count on it to whiff.
Oh yeah, we'll see that again later later in the game.
We get the wyvern into position, just within like the 3-inch melee range for some of those guys, and I think we end up taking out just the one guy in the back that's on the point with the spray, which is all that we really cared about. But when we get that kill, we end up getting a Warpath proc, move the Drakyon forward. Drakyon charges into the Legends and ends up slamming the one guy into another and getting 2 kills into that unit of the Legends. And then we take our reposition movement at the end of the turn from the Rassyk feat.
I make sure I put my prey token there because my prey came to me.
We put up Indomitable on the Drakyon as well, making it a little harder for you to just kill in melee, giving us that unyielding bonus. We set it up base to base with one of the death dealers to get that battle formation bonus as well. Move the Hydrix up a little bit here just to try and see if we can clear out that last legend with some of the range attacks.
Yeah, once the defensive line and the shield wall is gone,
so we end up
easy
we end up picking them up, which is nice. Put up Counterblast. Get a Warpath to move the Vipex a little further back, more into safety. Move the Shadowmancers up to do my own Fury management. Put the Paragon on that flag on the bottom left.
And then we score.
The Shadowmancers are also sitting on the flag in that forest. So we score up. Bottom of 2, I get 2 points, you get 1 point. You've got
I get that one.
Yep, you got that bunker in the bottom right.
Yeah, since you killed that one guy that was over on the other point, I don't get that
top
point.
left top right bunker on the screen. You've got. I end up taking out that guy to stop you from getting that second point.
So now you're in my face. I got to figure out how to unpack this, and deal with all these defensive strikes. So I know the Willbreaker needs to he doesn't have much. He can either give tough or he can walk over and try to influence someone.
So
I'm
I think you shoot an
influence. Strikes,
you influence one of the death dealers here to make me swing on myself.
He did some damage.
Yeah, puts a little damage in.
Yeah.
Luckily, the death dealers weren't already damaged, so no finisher for the attack.
Boo. Since if you hit the cats that I give tough to, you have Grievous, so it ignores it anyway. So there was no point in putting those on there.
Yeah.
I was measuring out that one from that Drakyon because I don't want that defensive smite, and I will move to be just outside of that one.
Yep. So here I clock back over to me. I'm going to take my defensive strikes with the death dealers because I feel like there's a pretty good chance that the cats can take them out. So want to get the value of the defensive strikes before before they get killed. So I end up taking out one of the cats. I think I might proc a little bit of damage into that other cat. Yeah,
they didn't get a charge, so they're kind of pillow fisted when they don't get a charge in there. Only at PAL 13s.
Yeah. Death dealers aren't too tanky. They're base 15, and then they have unyielding. So
plus the one that I was attacking.
Yeah, the one. Yeah, the one.
Kill.
Yeah, had the Drakyon bonus, so he goes up to 19, which is pretty good. 13, 19 is a pretty respectable stat line with 18 with 8 boxes.
Yeah. So now, I have Venator Dakar come up, take some shots, try to pick some people off, but that armor is too much.
Yeah, and I think the I can't quite tell, but the Death Dealer that's base to base with the Drakyon might be in melee with Rhadeim.
Oh yeah, he is. He definitely is.
So
So I had to
makes it
clear
also
that
very
up
very hard to
before.
shoot into him.
Mm-hmm.
But here we get Molik Karn,
Yep.
the king of melee.
The king, the king of melee.
Yep.
He's a weapon master.
He's got no problem. He's got no problem picking up that Death Dealer.
Yep. Especially if I enrage him with those beast handlers over there.
Yep.
Yep. So he goes through the first two, and then he's going after the last one.
Yep.
I think it takes the rest of my stack to pick up the last one, or one or two more attacks. I think I get one attack into the Drakyon.
Yeah. So I think the big thing was you missed an attack here.
Yeah.
They are defense 13, so need 6s.
Not nothing. But Karn does free up Rhadeim, which is important.
Frees up Rhadeim,
which he'll get the charge. Staying out of one of the Drakyon.
Yep, as one is wont to do. Try not to get slammed.
Try not to get the slamma-jamma going on. Yeah, just get that charge in there. He does have the armor piercing attack, so get that one good.
Yeah,
charge
so it's gonna do a nice big dent into the Drakyon.
Yeah, nice good dent.
I get my defensive strike. Yeah, I take my defensive strike with the one Death Dealer that's over there by the 50 and the pillar, but I think I end up missing or not. Even if I do hit, I don't do enough damage to knock you off the cat.
Yep. So then I reposition into your counter blast, and you miss. So then he dodges even farther down.
Dodge even further into my face, but not quite so far to give me a defensive strike, unfortunately.
Correct. So now the Titan has to finish off this Drakyon. Not what I wanted, but
yeah, and inefficient for you because the Titan has the 2-inch with the tusks, but then 1 inches with the
correct.
With the,
so I can only
gauntlets.
Get that one attack in if
so you stay out. You stay out of 1 inch so that you get your charge attack with the tusks, and then you have to buy with the tusks, and you don't get all your initials. So
very inefficient.
makes it very tough. But you end up picking it up.
Then I figure out where I want to put my prey. I think about putting it over on the Wyvern.
Yep.
So this is my train of thought. I don't know. I think we were talking earlier about it. I move the Venators out of there, the ones that can get some attacks in. I also move the Cyclops back and hoping to put a dent into the Wyvern and try to knock out some of its systems.
So based on what you were saying before, your train of thought is okay. If I take some shots with the Raider and with Jalaam and get enough shots to knock out a system on the Wyvern, then the Wyvern won't be able to clean up this unit of Venators on the top side, and you'll be able to hold that point for longer.
Correct. Yep.
Or force me to use more of stuff that I don't want to.
Yeah, instead of coming down and charging me down here, you have to go to the top to try to stay on those points.
Yeah, and I think I end up being able. I think you end up not knocking anything out. So
yeah, wasn't enough shots.
But Jalaam vanishes over into the trench behind the Paingivers.
I move the Venators back, all of them within
back,
2.
Take some shots.
The ones that weren't engaged get to take some shots. Still trying to knock something out. And no dice. Not in the right spots. Not in the right spots. It's okay. So then we'll pass turn again, and we'll go to the bottom of 3.
Yep. So after scoring, we have me 4 points, you 3 points.
Now you have to kind of see what you want to do to hit me back here.
And my biggest problem at the start of this turn is Rhadeim.
In your face.
Just in he's just in the way. He's not doing anything. He's just in the way. So I'm like, okay, my boy Rassyk, there's no way that he's not getting this work done. So we hit the charge. We knock him off
Knock-
the cat.
Mhm.
Okay, cool, no problem. We're gonna buy an attack. We're mat 8. We're gonna hit, and we miss. And he dodges, and now I can't.
dodges.
And now I can't melee him with Rassyk anymore.
Yeah, he's
So now I'm like, well, crap.
he's a
What do I
shifty
do
little
now?
guy, that
So I
guy.
end up throwing the last word battle plan onto the Death Dealers over the unit that's still alive here. So I used my battle plan for that this turn. I had to spend 2 of my stack to heal up those 2 cripple systems on the Vipex. And I believe I throw a Hunter's Mark at Molik Karn.
Yeah.
And here's what we were talking about before. Wraithwing Paragon charges Rhadeim and whiff once again.
So then I
So
just
now
dodged
he
right
dodges
back into Rassyk.
just dodges right back into Rassyk and into the Hydrix to tie up the Hydrix in melee. So I'm like, well, this is really freaking annoying. But I have a plan here. I'm like, I gotta get this Vipex into Molik Karn. It's like if I get the Vipex into Molik Karn and at least get like 1 attack into the Cannoneer, I think the Death Dealers will be able to clean up what's left.
Yeah, the Death Dealers are pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like them a little bit more than the Lashers.
Yeah, I think since the January update, I'm kind of anti-Lasher at the moment. I think Nixian or Lilith is where they're probably best suited, just because you have like innate damage buffs with those casters. But
Makes sense.
I think the other thing really is like if you're the only other place you would want them is if you're worried about like having enough attack, like volume of attacks for like single wounds and stuff. But so anyway, I have the Hydrix walk around Rhadeim, pick him up with, I believe, the spray.
Yeah, it was a gun. Because
Yeah,
you missed the melee.
I think I just walk around and go for the spray. So I hit the spray, kill him with the spray, and then I get both my Swift Hunter movement and my Warpath movement to get me in melee with the Titan Glad, and then I take my horned, the crit horn. I think I hit the crit armor piercing on the horn piercer into the Titan Glad.
Yeah, Titans are not happy about crit armor piercing.
Put a nice little dent into the Titan Glad for me, and then I get the Vipex in on Molik Karn. After the enrage, I do make a little mistake here in that I have Belgul move over to enrage the Vipex and then repo back into the trench, and I really should have had him repo onto the flag on that bottom left. But I just trusted the Paragon to kill Rhadeim and sprint back, which I shouldn't have done because he can't be trusted.
Can't be trusted.
Yep, but Vipex picks up Molik Karn, and then with the dent that the Hydrix put into the Titan Glad, the Death Dealers charge the Titan Glad and pick him up, as well as put an attack into the Titan Cannoneer.
Yep.
2 attacks into. I think I pick up I think I spike and pick up the Titan Glad like on the first attack with the Death Dealers.
Yeah, you did.
So I get 2 attacks into the Titan Cannoneer with the Death Dealers. Then I sidestep my way in, put 1 Death Dealer into melee with the Paingivers and Jalaam, and then move 1 into melee with the Ferox and another into melee with the Cannoneer. Just force you, make it harder for you to get in on the Hydrix, as well as especially the Vipex that's still just chilling on the other side of that pillar in the middle of the board. I move up to the top side here. The Wraithwing Paragon finally doing some work. Charges over, picks up 2 of the Venators with getting its first melee and then cleaving. and then the Wyvern comes up and whiffs several attacks, leaving forcing me to buy a bunch, and I leave one Venator up.
Yep.
So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to score that flag this turn.
Yep. So you go up 1 when you could have gone up 2 because of the
Yep.
Belagul.
So I miss 1 point on the bottom left.
Yeah.
So that turn takes us to with me with 5 points and you at 4 points.
Yep.
We go top
so
of
now,
4.
Now I have all of these war beasts in my face, and my prey is all the way over there
at the top. Yep.
at the top.
Yeah, I think also maybe, I don't know what your mentality was, but like I thought maybe perhaps you were thinking that the Wyvern was going to come down instead of going up.
Yeah, I thought the Wyvern was going to come down and the what's it called? The Vipex would have gone up instead.
Well, the Vipex was just so far away. There's no way it's getting up to that top side of the board
Well,
unless
the other
you're letting
one,
it go
the one
over
right there in the
multiple
middle.
turns. Yeah, but that's that's the channeler. Also, like he's not super great at melee.
Not super great at melee. Yeah.
He does have impalers, but
yeah. So the Venator, the solo Venator, is kind of holding down the point over there with the Willbreaker. He moved up and took care of the Vipex that Halaak kind of shot up.
Yeah, because
He
like I
finished
said,
it
I only healed those 2 points to uncripple the system, so still heavily damaged. So
And thinking about it, I could have probably done that last turn and not lost Molik Karn to that thing.
An interesting point. An interesting point.
Mhm.
I don't know that. Like, I did you need him to be on the bunker to score the point? Because
No, the
the Vipex
Willbreaker's
was
down
like
there.
all the way like around the forest on the bottom left, basically. So it might have been hard for you to get that angle to shoot it.
Maybe. I don't know. It was a thought. Now we're looking back at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he picked
so
it up.
So here's the Titan Cannoneer moves in and goes to kill the Death Dealers. And my thought here is that I'm gonna take my last word attacks into the Cannoneer to try and knock out a system, which I end up doing.
Did.
So
on the last one.
Yep. And so that gives me the thought that like, okay, if I especially if I knock out a system, it's going to be more or less impossible to knock out both the Hydrix and that Vipex that has just been chilling.
Yeah, so I kind of have to pick one at this point.
Yeah, because I already am, starting to put on the scenario. Like, I have a little bit of a scenario lead. I'm putting on the pressure. So being able to score this 50 is like your way back into the game.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, Halaak has to kill this guy in front of him, and then with one attack, and then shoot the Hydrix.
Yep.
And it took the whole stack for Halaak to kill that guy. You saw the whole stack disappear. I saw it disappear.
Gone. Yep. I take my last word into the Cannoneer.
Yep.
Put another dent in him. You want to pass him back to me?
Yep.
So now I go up 6-4. We're on bottom of 4.
Quick.
Yep. I take a very quick turn.
Yeah, you didn't have much time left. I think you had like under 5 minutes, but you saw the writing there.
Yeah,
and
I saw the writing on the wall with the scenario. So I moved Belagul onto the flag. I moved the Wraith Wing up to contest your flag. I make my one attack into the last remaining Venator to clear it out, and I pass back. You get the Praetorian over to that was at the Ferox to kill the Wyvern.
Yep.
And contest that flag.
Yeah, now I'm looking at it. I'm like, well, I have to try to dig out this 50. There's 2 heavies here. I have to try to score this bottom and the 50 to try to get back into this game because you're up 9-5. So you're up by 4 points.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, let's see. I can charge over here and then take some shots with Halaak, which I do. But
and because the Hydrix is because the Hydrix only has the Horn Piercer as a melee, I think you're I'm not actually in melee with the Cannoneer. So you're not. It's not you're shooting into melee or anything like that.
Yeah.
But
So I clear up the bottom point. So I secured 1 point. So now I have to try to kill the Vipex and the Hydrix. Hydrix
Yeah.
soften up a little bit, but the Cannoneer is not known to be a melee monster.
yeah, but you get him. You get the Hydrix, but at this point the damage is kind of already done with, knocking out the Titan Cannoneer system and.
Yep. The beast handlers are doing what they can. I see. At this point, I kind of see like, oh well, I don't have anything that can go contest these points to stop you from scoring. Since the 50 kind of fell through, I don't have enough firepower to kill this. So at this point, it's pretty much wrapped up. I don't have anything else to activate, and that's pretty much it. End of this turn, which is right there. We're counting up points. You go up to 11, I go to 6, and that's the end of the game. You win on scenario.
Yeah, and I think I think here we're just kind of talking out like, the aspects of the game in kind of a retrospective of like how hard it was to dig out that Vipex from the 50.
Mm-hmm.
But a great game.